Hi, this is Mrs. Knopf, and today we are going to continue in our method book with line 48, Polly Wolly Doodle. So we have eighth rests as a new concept in this line, and I don't want you to stress about it. It's not as complicated as it may look. So we're going to go through and we are going to figure all of this out together. So at the beginning, as always, we have our treble clef. Then we have our time signature, which is 4/4 time. We have 4 beats in each measure. That's your top number. The bottom number gives us the value of the whole note, and that's going to be very important. So if I have a whole note and it gets 4 beats, half of a whole is a half, and half of 4 is 2. So if I had a half note, it would get 2 beats. Next, half of a half is a quarter, half of 2 is 1. So any quarter notes that I would have would get 1 beat. Then half of a quarter is an eighth, and half of 1 is half. So the eighth notes and the eighth rests each get a half beat. So it takes 2 of them to equal 1 full beat. So let's check some things out. First of all, at the beginning, we have 2 eighth notes that are beamed together, and they're in a measure by themselves, so it's actually a pickup or an anacrusis into the first full measure. So for this we would say 4 and, so the 4 is the downbeat, the and is the upbeat. And then starting in the first full measure, we have single eighth notes followed by single eighth rests. So the eighth note falls on the downbeat, the eighth rest falls on the upbeat. So you're just giving it space. Pretend those eighth notes, the eighth rests are eighth notes that don't get played. So I would go 1 and 2 and 3 and. Then you have the same thing again. 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Then going into the next measure, it's all eighth notes. 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And here we've got the eighth notes barred together in groups of 4. So we have 4 E's, which by the way is covering the thumb and the first finger. Then in the next set of 4 we have 2 F's, which is just the thumb, followed by 2 E's. Then we go into the next line and we have a dotted half note D. By the way, it is this. The dotted half note, if we remember that our dot adds half of a note's value to it, remember a half note gets 2 beats. Half of 2 is 1. So that dot makes the dotted half note worth 3 beats. Now, when we go into the next section, so we started on a C and we were going C, D, E, just like that. In the next section, it's very similar, but we're starting lower. We're starting on a low B. So we've got thumb in the back, 1, 2, 3 on the top joint, and middle finger on the second hole of the bottom joint. That's your B. So we have B, C, D, followed by a rest, D, rest, B, rest. B, C, D, rest, D, rest, B, rest. Then it's all playing from here on out. We have 2 eighth note D's. In the next measure, we have a group of 4 eighth note G's. G, 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 G. Then a group of 4 eighth notes, but 2 of those are F's. F, F. 2 of those are D's. D, D. Then a whole note C. Okay? So when we go through, you're just going to give space. So you could also think of the eighth notes as quarters with a big gap in between each note. That's kind of how it's written out. So we're going to go at the beginning. We're going to play through. We're going to start each note with a t sound, tip of the tongue on the tip of the reed. And I'm going to do this at 80 beats per minute. So hopefully that will be slow enough that we can kind of wrap our minds around all of these eighth rests. Okay? C, D, E, E, C, C, D, E, E, C, C, D, E, 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 F, F, E, E, D. Look ahead. B, C, D, D, B, B, C, D, D, B, D, D, G, 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 F, F, D, D, C. Really important to give all of your notes their full value, and the same with rests. All right, here we go. We're going to start on beat 4, and I hope you can play along. Ready? 1, and here we go. And that's it for line 48, Polly Wolly Doodle. Super important that you are subdividing the entire time, and even though you see a bunch of notes all together, you still take them at a nice, even, steady tempo. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Sometimes we have all eighth notes, and sometimes we have eighth note, eighth rest. So do your best with it. Feel free to go back and watch parts of the video again and pause it so you can practice. If you need to go more slowly, that's fine. But I hope this has been helpful, and we'll see you next time.